Welcome to another episode of Samadrita Talkshow. And as I always promise, I try to bring stories of real people around you that will inspire you and help to build a better society. Today our guest is a passionate technology leader and a voracious reader. He thrives on innovation, problem solving, and dreams of building a space completely on digital transformation. And of course, apart from the algorithms and the advancements, he believes it's the human connections that helps us bind together. Technology builds bridges, but books open doors to new ideas, fresh perspectives, and a world beyond us. His passion for technology and books has helped him to build a community of like-minded readers, whom he happily calls the book therapists. He is trying to give back to the community by fostering real connections and spreading positivity through his book club, which is called the Book Therapy. And I'm glad to say that this club, which started on a very bold vision, has successfully completed their 6 months and have also officially launched their website on 7th of June 2025. Let's hear more about the club and the community that they are trying to build from the chief founder, Mr. Abhijit Banerjee. Welcome, Abhijit, to our show.
Thank you for having me. I'm really thrilled to be here representing our vibrant the book therapy community, which was built on a very strong ideology and mission statement. I always wanted to build a space where the readers can connect with each other. They can renew, they can rebuild, and of course, the fostering, the learning, the sharing their insights, ideas, and the most important part is how to make a positive difference in the lives of others. So once again, thank you for this opportunity.
I think it's our pleasure to have you on the show because you have a great mission to accomplish and just bringing that old school habit of reading. But before I really explore more about the club, I would like to know how books have transformed or transitioned into your life in different phases.
Absolutely. I think books have got a real great impact to my life too. And if I break it down into different phases of my life, it starts with the childhood. Mm-hmm. That's when I think the imagination starts, right? And as a child, when I was reading those books like Tintin or Feluda, I was kind of visualizing those, right? And I felt a magic in those words, right? Then, of course, when there's a young adulthood, when I started reading a little bit deeper books, right? Which helped me change my perspectives in different way. And more importantly, when I went through my adulthood, I started reading more books and then that deepened my perspectives more and more, right? And I was able to connect the brain, I was able to connect the dots. And now at this stage, right, when I thought of launching this book club, I think I read almost every category, whatever I come across. Yeah, it still changed my perspective, but I think when I go back to those days, during when I was growing up, I think I feel a lot of values that I got over the years. And then eventually at some point in my life, I will probably think of it this way that I have read so many of these books and it's a life which is very rich with readings and it's like a legacy, right? Like, you go back, you think about, right? So many books you have read, so many books have taught you something over the years, right? So of course, like, all these books, even if they are in different stages, they speak different languages, but at the same time, one common language is close to the heart, right?
Yeah.
And that's what it is.
I think I was going to ask you the idea behind the book club, but you somehow summarized everything in this question. But yeah, I would just like to say, like, it's a wonderful initiative. And you prefer to call your members as book therapists.
Yes.
And your club is book therapy.
Yep.
So I really want to know how this idea came to your mind.
Absolutely. So I have to go back a couple of years. I was at an innovation summit in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, and I met a very renowned author. He's a Swedish author. His name is Fredrik Herren.
Okay.
And he is known for two things primarily. One is he's a creativity explorer.
Okay.
And at the same time, he has a very distinguished name as a global keynote speaker. So he has delivered 200 plus keynotes over 75 countries across the 5 continents.
Okay.
And at the end of his keynote, I got a chance to meet him in person. And my first question was that how do you explore the creativity within people? And his answer was that in order to explore the creativity, you need to have knowledge. You need to have information. And those information and knowledge and wisdom, you can only get it from books. And that creates your curiosity. And that curiosity, when it creates, you are able to connect the dots better. Sometimes I feel that, very unrelated ideas, when you combine together, that becomes a combination of ideas, right?
Yeah.
And that's how he explained, right? And there was a time in my life I was not getting time because life takes its own toll and you get busy with so many things. I came back. I actually purchased one of his very popular books, and that was basically one of the best 100 business books in the world.
Okay.
It's called The Idea Book.
The Idea.
The Idea Book.
Okay.
And that Idea Book has got 150 pages of ideas and 150 blank pages, because the author asked you, the Fredrik Herren, the author asked you some questions, some problem solving, and you share your ideas into those blank pages. I completed that, and then I started my reading journey. Of course, I was reading over the years, but I was not getting much time of it, right? So I started my reading journey again and again, and then I kind of come across this book called The Atomic Habits, right? Which helped me to bring back my reading habits.
Yeah.
And then, as they say, right, that the divine ideas come when you manifest.
Yeah.
And I have been manifesting for so many months, right? Even last year and the year before, that I need to do something so that I can attract the readers, right? And not even the readers who are avid readers, but also who are very new to book reading, or they wanted to start their journey. How can I help them, right? Because I always wanted to give it back to the community in some way or the other. And I felt like, Book Club is a great space for that, because I can foster learning, I can share insights, and then eventually we as a group can share insights with each other. And that's how it started. And then I shared this idea with some of my very close people, and everybody loved that idea. And that's how it started. And I would like to also add that I use this term called BHAG, which is Big-Hairy-Audacious-Goal.
Yeah.
Because when I started, I didn't know that where it's going to take us, right? Or how it's going to shape up. But here is the thing with all the enthusiastic people, the avid readers, and the motivated people, with the help of all of them, I think we are where we are today.
Yeah, I think you made a bold vision and you manifested that, and right now it's coming true.
Yes. And the idea of this book therapy, because I feel that reading books is a kind of a therapy, right? Because in every phase of our life, we go through midlife crisis, we go through so many struggles, so many challenges in our life. And time to time, we need that therapy, right? Books are your best companions, right?
Yeah.
And suppose when you travel alone, right? You carry a book, right? And that serves like your companion, right? And that's how this idea came into my mind, that why can we not call it as a book therapy? Because somehow it is helping people every sphere of their life, every dimensions of their life, be it physical, be it mental, be it relational, social, emotional, spiritual. And that's how the book therapy name came to my mind.
Yeah, I think the world really needs a good therapy nowadays.
Yes.
And through reading, it's one of the best habits that we can actually promote in the community and across the globe. So I would say it's a very noble initiative from your end.
Thank you.
As we are discussing, like, reading books is so very important. So how do you think it shapes an adult's mind and a child's mind?
Oh, that's a great question. I feel a book helps everyone. If you think of a child imagines a lot, right? It helps their cognitive development. It also helps their emotional intelligence. It can also help a child for problem solving. It can also help their academics. And academics doesn't mean only the books that they read at their school or the colleges, right? Because every book, like I said before, every book teaches you something, right? So that's how I feel the books help child. When it comes to adults, I think it is also important that how they would grow their child, right? And often we say that the patience is very much needed when you are basically parenting your child, right? And I think book teaches you that too. Be patient. When you actually spend that screen-free, right? That screen-free, I know I'm talking in the digital world, but that screen-free 15 minutes, 30 minutes, 1 hour, right? You are so much engrossed into it, right? That also makes your focus more, right? And that's how I feel that both child and adults can get help from books.
Yeah, I think it's wonderfully put because it's required in different ages of our life. But this brings me to my next question because as per my knowledge, the members of your club are mostly 30 plus.
That's true. Yes.
So do you have any plans to extend that, like just removing the age barriers and inviting people from different age groups, especially children, because they are like the future of the world. So do you have any plans to extend that?
Again, that's a very good question, and I think one of our therapists actually brought it up that at some point can we involve children, and of course children has to be at certain age, right? I'm talking about, let's say, like when they are grade 7, grade 8, they come across different concepts, different perspectives of life. I feel that before I take that step, we need to do some homework because a child's mind and adult's mind are totally different. They are very tendered, right? So we need to build that setup for them to come and because the way two adults speak, right, or all the therapists today, that the way we speak, we cannot have the same settings when children join. So yes, eventually we will think about it, but I think we are at a very nascent stage of our book therapy club where we are still kind of in the phase of build up, right? And even yesterday in our book club meeting, I was talking about how can we go from build up to breakthrough, right? And our website launch was one of the breakthroughs. But at some point, I think this is a very noble idea to include all age groups and then cater it to the broader and bigger audience.
Yeah, I think all the parents who are listening, this is your chance to provide feedback to this club and help them so that they can include your children as well as part of this in the upcoming days, for sure.
And one more thing I wanted to add, right, that I think children have the best brains, right? The kind of ideas they come up with, right, that's going to help us in the long run. And I say this thing called kiddie test. Even with my son, sometimes I ask certain questions and he has no idea whatsoever because he doesn't know, right? But I still ask a technology question to him, right? And then when he start asking counter questions, that opens up a lot of ideas. And this is what I always follow. And perhaps when we talk about different ideas, how to grow our the book therapy club is do not get into the solution first. First, think about how to phrase and rephrase the problems. Time and time again, right? Because when you focus on your problem statements, and if I take this as a problem statement, right, how to include the children in our book club, right? I think we need to kind of phrase and rephrase. We need to look at all the positive and negative impacts and how can we make a settings for the children to come and contribute to our book club, right? So definitely we have some accountability, right? When we include those young age people, right? Because you cannot compare. This is not apple to apple, right? But this is definitely going to happen at some day, I feel.
Yeah, I think they are very much like the out-of-box thinkers.
Sure.
And they are not binded by certain rules and regulations the way we get usually groomed when we become like aged, but they are not. They are free thinkers, I would say, and they will bring a lot of ideas on your plate. So maybe, who knows, it will just help your club to grow.
And you know what? Since you said this, that they are the out of the box thinker. There's a book I read last year. It's called the Atmaman. It's a spiritual book, and it's written by Dr. Kapil Gupta. And one of the chapters, he said, "Parents do not raise children; nature does." Now, take it with a grain of salt, because you cannot let your children grow by the nature. But that's such a strong statement,
it's
right?
A profound one, yeah.
Yeah, because like you said, right, that the children are always bound by certain rules and guidelines, and this is what you should do, this is what you shouldn't do. But sometimes we need to let the child to kind of raise by the nature, right? So that's a great perspective, I would say.
Okay. Yeah. So it was a wonderful insight into this. But I really like to know, like in this age where we are heavily consumed by internet, and especially like podcasts flooding the digital space completely. So how do you think you can bring back that practice of reading again?
Well, I'm certainly trying. But yes, I think we cannot discount the fact that the technology is growing like never before, right? And with the more and more AI innovations, and you talk about Chat GPT, everything is so readily available. People are so engrossed with social media. Even though we call it an obsession, we all use social media, right? And there is always like, the pros and cons, right? Like, you get to learn a lot of things even from social media. However, what I deeply believe is digital, close, but the pages breathes. So
that's lovely.
There is a difference when you are on your screen and you are either reading something from digital screen or Kindle or whatnot, and also you are on social media, right? And then when you are holding a book, that gives you that tangible sensory experience, which a screen cannot provide you.
True.
So that's my first thing, right? So I would urge everyone who wants to start their reading journey, who are very new to book reading. I hope, you understand that sensory experience is very important. What books can teach you, a digital world, of course it can teach you, but I think there is a difference, because when you hold a book and when you read that book, right, it actually sparks certain thinking and certain ideas. Because if you search something over the internet, or today it's Chat GPT or Gemini or any other large language models, you get everything. A book doesn't tell you everything. It sparks your thinking, right? And that's how I feel that with the help of this book club, the book therapy, and now again we are digitally present now because of our website, and of course, I mean, we cannot ignore the fact that digital presence is such an important aspect to everything today, right? But how you use that digital presence, right, to cater it to the bigger and broader audience, of course we need that digital medium. And with that, our book club idea is to attract people, come and join our book club, and then talk to us, try to understand that what's our ideology, what's our mission statement, how we can give it back to the community. And then once you start your journey, I think once you start reading the books, right, your first page, right, or even your first word, right, and once you get into that habit, I think that's when you see the difference. Because me, telling my experience, or if you hear it from other therapists, I think that of course creates some curiosity. Okay, let me join this book club. However, when you join and when you are part of the family, and you're part of the book therapy family, then you understand that how it is helping you, fostering your learning, your wisdom, your knowledge, broadening your perspectives, and then you start realizing it. And that's when actual change happens. So I hope with this noble cause of giving back to the community and making a positive difference to the lives of others, contribute and bless others' life, I think with that, we would be able to make a significant change in the coming days.
Yeah, I think it's very well said, because I just remembered one of my friends saying me, like, buying a new book, especially we both come from the same roots, that's West Bengal.
Sure.
And we have that literary festivals happening, the book fair that we call. And I remember one of my friend telling me that when you hold a new book, the smell of the new pages, it's like it motivates you to delve into the mind of the author.
Oh, that's very true, right?
Yeah.
I mean, every time I buy a new book, I think I smell the book first, right? And that smell of the ink, right?
Yes, yeah.
It's so fascinating for me, right? And one other thing which I really enjoy, and I always say that celebrate your quick wins. And for my quick wins are when I complete a book and I share that insights, that ideas, what I've learned, right, with others. And when I see that they are interested, that's when that celebration happens inside me, right? So it is absolutely true.
So we got some great insights into what was the motive of building this book club. So what changes or impacts you're really going to bring with this book club in the community?
Well, there are multifold impacts that that we are looking for as a book club community, the book therapy, right? The very first one is getting our therapist into the habit of book reading, because that is the very first and foremost step, right? Because if you don't read, I mean, of course, hearing insights and different ideas and different wisdom and knowledge from others helps. But I think our very first step is to get a newcomer in our club get into that habit of book reading.
Okay.
And even if it is meant for 10 minutes, 15 minutes, half an hour, right? And when you hear other stories, right? Especially a lot of therapists who joined and who came to me and said, I want to start my journey, but I don't know where to start, how to start, right? And that's where I always say that, okay, start with Atomic Habits, right? Because Atomic Habits...
You told me as well.
Exactly. And you joined our book club recently because Atomic Habits help teaches you how to build good habits and how to break the bad ones. Tiny changes, remarkable results. If you make 1% change on a daily basis, at the end of the year, there'll be total 37% change. That's remarkable.
Okay.
So that's our first impact that we want to make. The second impact, of course, now we have a digital presence through our website. Our website, it's a beta version right now. We are not going to roll out to everyone. We are keeping it more like a closed group. And through that website, when you join our club, right, eventually, then you get to know what's coming up, right? When we are meeting next. Are we going to do any specific collaboration in terms of reading together? Okay. Different reviews of the books. What are the future reads? In our book therapy club, we have a dedicated team who are working on relentlessly in terms of coming up with the future reads. Then we are going to start the reviews of the books, the ratings, the ranking of different books. And that's going to help the new, not only new, but even the existing and the new book club members or the new therapist or the existing therapist to kind of figure out what their next genres would be, what their next books would be. So that's going to be one important impact to that. The third impact is eventually we wanted to build this community in a way that we can think about different sort of community work too, right? Through our book club, right? And we have a lot of ideas which are floating around today. But more importantly, once you get into that reading habit, I think that is where I always, and in every meet, I think I remind everyone, right? That yes, celebrations, website launch, right? We have some stationaries in terms of badge or a bookmark, or we got our t-shirts and all. But most important is read. Because when you read, you connect the dots, you connect the brains. So broadening the perspective is the most important impact that we would like to give. And of course, it's a mental toolkit is what I say, right? When you have that mental model, right? I think you are going to be able to deal with the problems in much more effective ways, right? And physical, mental, relational, social, emotional, and spiritual. The 4 dimensions of life, we wanted to make the impact. A lot of people, they're trying to lose weight. They wanted to get into the habit of, healthy diet.
Yeah.
A lot of people, they want more focus.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
A lot of people, they don't even spend 5 minutes for any kind of mindfulness or prayers or, meditations, right? A lot of people are going through so many things in their relations, right? So we wanted to make change to every dimensions of the life through our book club. That's our end goal.
Okay. I think that's a huge responsibility of this club. And I really wish that whatever you are thinking of, it gets accomplished, because we really need such noble things to happen in this community.
Absolutely.
So I know your website got launched on 7 June, and I don't want to say much about it, but I would like you to take the spotlight and share with our audience more about this website.
Sure. So when I started this book therapy club, it started with 5 to 6 therapists. And then it was all about word of mouth, right? I have been telling in my closed groups and my friends and some of my families, and whoever is interested, they join the book club. So I created a WhatsApp group. I came up with very simple, some standards and practices. We basically asked 2 questions to the new therapist. Introduce yourself, and what's the unique outcome that you want to accomplish by joining this book club. And that's how it all started. But today we have 18 therapists in 6 months. That's quite an achievement. I always felt that in order to reach out to the broader and bigger audience, we need to have our digital presence. Else, at some point, when our total number of therapists reaches like 30, 40, 50, it'll be very difficult to manage and control through a WhatsApp group. And that's how the website came into picture. And we quickly formed a team of 5 members who are still working relentlessly on the website. And here we are. Yesterday was our first beta version of the website launch. We are going to roll out more features in the coming days into multiple releases. And then as soon as we as a book club community feel that we are ready to fully go global and truly global, that's when we are going to share it with everyone. In the interim, if you'd like to join our book club, we have an email created for the book club. So you can either email or you can reach out to me or even Samadrita, right? Yeah. Whoever is going to watch this.
Sure.
And then we can get you added. For the time being, in our website, the Join Book Club is still underway. And I'm very much hopeful that within a few months, we are going to make it available for everyone.
Yeah, I think you'll get all the details showing up on the screen, so you know whom to reach if you want to become a member of this club. And I think eventually this was my next question, like how can somebody become a member? So is it just reaching out to you or the existing members or dropping an email, or is there any membership fee? So how can somebody become a member?
There is no membership fee because that was my first ideology. Mm-hmm. It was built on the basis of strong ideology and mission statement. Mm-hmm. Our mission statement is to bless others, to contribute and giving back to community and make a positive difference. So absolutely no fee. Mm-hmm. For the time being, again, it's a word of mouth, right? If you get to know our book club website and if you know someone who are already part of the book club, then absolutely reach out to that person, and that person will tell that other person like how to get added to the WhatsApp group. And then we are going to also share our email so that you can drop an email and then somebody will look into it and then get you added to the group.
Okay. Yeah, that's why I was saying and referring to this as a noble initiative every time whenever I'm talking about this club, because there is no hidden charges here. It is just promoting healthy habit of reading.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I know Canada has a very well built up library system. It's a free public library for most of the people. So how would you differentiate your book club from that existing libraries that are there?
That's a great question. And it was always hovering in my mind. How is it different, right? People can go to the library, they can start reading books. But if you look at the mission of our book club is we will read together, we will share insights, ideas. Because when you are on your journey by yourself, right? Then yes, you may have motivations, right? You may have willpower, but I am a big believer of why power over willpower. Because willpower at some point may die down, right? But if you have a very strong why power, it'll continue forever. Right? So I think our book club, the book therapy, will help any member of the book club or whoever is joining new to understand the why power, why we should read books. And then once you know your why, like I say, right, know your why and fly, boy, fly, right? It could be a fly, girl, fly, right? I just wanted to have that sync. So knowing your why is very important. And that's the impact that we want to make by joining our book club.
So it seems your club gives a feel of a community which grows, thrives together.
Yes.
Yeah. And I think in case of the public libraries that are in Canada, of course, there are free resources. Even I was a part of the Toronto Library when one of my friends suggested, like, if you don't have anything to do, just go to a library and sit and take a book. So that way you will meet some people, talk to them, read some books. So it was fine. But in your case, it's a community vibe that actually helps to grow together as well.
Well, and if you look at any public library, they have got so many events happening, reading together, right? Some collaboration, some workshops happening. And those are great opportunities, right? And I would definitely encourage and urge everyone to go to the library, look at your local library. Even I am a member of Brampton Public Library, and but I hardly get time to go there. You can always get a book, right? And like I said, that we are building our future reads, and a lot of books you will find it from the library. So make use of the library as a resource and get those books, right? And then start reading it, right? But the difference of going into a library and then joining our book club, I think that impact that we want to make is that why power, right? Why do you think that reading is a great habit, right? And we always tell our child also that you have to read, you have to read, you have to read. But I think when you lead by example, when you read yourself, you are able to connect the dots better for them. So that's how I feel that we will make a difference. Yeah,
surely. And it's already making a difference with your count increasing from, I think you started with the 5?
Yeah, probably 4 or 5 members.
4 or 5. And now it is around?
18.
So that's a lot in 6 months.
Yes.
Yeah. That's a huge accomplishment.
And that's just by word of mouth, right? Like, I'm going somewhere or somebody else from our book club members, like they go somewhere in different events, parties, and they just tell, and if somebody is interested, they're just getting added, right? So I'm hoping that that in the coming days, with the help of our website, I think we can go really global, and then more people will get access to the website, and they can go before joining. I would say that when the website is fully launched, I think before joining, you have to go through our mission statement, our ideologies, what you will get out of this by joining this book club. Because every book club, to my perspective, every book club serves different purposes, right? And that purpose-driven approach is very important. And that was very key for me to build that mission statement. And I wanted to tell everyone that this mission statement wasn't built by me alone. As they say, that mission statement should not be built behind the mahogany wall, right? It was a joint effort. It was a combined effort from all our therapists a couple of months back when we were building our mission statements, and we all build it together.
I think that's what I was trying to say even. You bring the flavor of community in your book club, where you work together, thrive together, and read together.
Yes, that sense of community,
Yeah.
that sense of ownership,
Yeah.
that sense of accountability, that sense of giving back to the community.
Yeah.
These are the main ideologies that we wanted to build our book club on.
Yeah. So I know I have been a part of one of their book club meetings, and I'm glad I could be. So I saw people speaking about English books. So do you have any plan to extend it to exploring the regional market? When I say regional, it's not always India. There may be other regional authors as well, or maybe authors from France, from Portugal, from Spain. So do you have that inclusion of those?
Absolutely. I think there is no such limitations, right? For the time being, I think all our 18 therapists are reading the English books, right? And that's by coincidence, right? If somebody comes back and say, I want to read like a Portuguese book, or I want to read a book on Spanish, or on French, or on even Bengali, right? We come from West Bengal. So any languages are invited, because for me, it's like a music. Music has no language. Same thing for books, right? You are reading it in English or any other languages, it doesn't matter. As long as it's broadening your perspective, you are learning. It's a continuous learning process, right? And language is not a barrier for that. So it is a coincidence that that everyone in our book club are reading the books written in English. But any languages are welcome in our book club.
Yeah, I think that's the beauty of having a book club, especially in countries like Canada, where we talk about diversity. And so coming to my next question, like, how do you ensure that the inclusion of diversity is enhanced in your group? And also it creates a safe space for people to speak their minds, discuss new ideas, and also irrespective of where they are in their personal or professional life. So how do you bring that